The SIG SAUER P211 GTO, or GOAT because that's a cooler name, has been out for a minute now, and it felt appropriate to check in on it and give you an update on the platform as it's starting to come into its own and have some maturity, and see how it holds up after 3,000 rounds. If you missed the first review on this video with all the specs, you can check back and look into that for more information, as we're going to be kind of diving deeper into this gun. What's going on, dudes? We are at the range again with the P211, and I know you guys, some of you guys are gonna be like, oh, the SIG SAUER check must have cashed and now he's doing the video again. Not exactly. In fact, not at all. There has been a video on YouTube that has been sent to me multiple times, and people sent me direct messages like, hey, this dude had this part fail. Here we go. There's my recoil plug. What it is there is a little plastic reverse plug at the front of the gun. It's actually plastic. I thought it was metal when I was messing with it, but it's plastic. And he had that shatter and the gun failed. So I'm just trying to answer the question. This gun already had 1,500 rounds on it. Yesterday, I took it to my indoor gun club and put 700 more.
Ninja mode engage. Six.
Most of the rounds found their way to the 0 zone. Got a couple outside there.
Did it. I didn't catch COVID. It was awesome.
So I witness marked the screw on the compensator to see if it moved. And you can see within, call it, 600 rounds or so, it moved all the way to the top. So it is something that you're probably going to have to keep an eye on as you shoot these things.
Even though there is no 12 o'clock port, you can see how dirty that optics lens is getting. That's at least 700 rounds right there.
And today we're going to shoot 800 more, so it'll be over 3,000 rounds. I don't know the exact round count, but at least those 1,500 from today and yesterday, plus whatever it was before, it was at least 1,500. I didn't keep track. But also, the other reason I'm featuring it again, and I'll probably do one more on it, is because there's now an aluminum magwell, which makes this IDPA legal.
Gun, magazine, and that is 44.4 ounces, basically perfect.
So the promise of the platform is being realized, and there are now gear for it. Like Carey Concealment has this X1 holster that I'm going to be playing with today. So once the sight block drops, I'm going to take it to a USPSA match and put it through its paces against other limited optics guns, just because I do think the gun is interesting. So let's get into it. I figured out how the gun moves and I can stabilize it well. It's just crushing. This is 25 yards. This is just a super stable gun. Missed one there though. If you want to know how long it takes to fill up 400 rounds in these magazines, which is about what these mags will take, the answer is about 15 minutes. It takes 15 minutes to load the mags, takes less than 15 minutes to shoot them. Kind of fun. This is rotating quite a bit. Like the set screw is now, it started at about I guess you'd call that like 6:30, and it is rotated all the way around to 9 o'clock now. So it's nearly done one full revolution. I got 2 more mags. We'll cinch it down a bit more. So definitely something that's going to have to get managed. All right, last mag for an additional 1,500 rounds. That one doesn't lock back. So as far as shooting the gun was concerned, there really wasn't much in the way of hiccups. In the outdoor portion of the shooting, there was one S&B 115 that didn't go off. It was a light strike. Light strike. Oops. Picked it up, put it back in the gun, and it went. Now, I had 2 other guns out filming that same day with this gun. Yeah, that was a lot of shooting that day. And the 2 other guns had a lot more problems with the S&B 115s than this gun did. So the fact that only 1 of the 800 rounds didn't go out of this gun and did go on the subsequent restrike, I'm chalking that up to the ammo. I think I just got a bad batch of S&B 115, but the whole point of this was to see if I can make the gun choke and break with that thing. So let's look at the gun as I take it apart and gave it a deep clean. So real quickly, you're going to disassemble the gun and actually clean it because I haven't actually cleaned the gun since it showed up. So it's got about 3,000 rounds without cleaning, just adding oil to it. We'll see how the part is looking and just kind of get into what the gun's looking like. You can see the holster is already putting some Kydex on the compensator there. And the inside of the barrel, I'm not going to be able to show you that. Doesn't look like there's much, if any, carbon buildup. There's a little carbon buildup going in the chamber ports. You can see kind of some of the scaling on the side, but nothing too serious there. All right, there's the offending part in question. Looking at it closely, it doesn't look like it's got any significant wear on it, but it's probably one of those things where it's fine until it's not, but it looks fine. Honestly, the plastic is pretty thick. And how it's being used in the gun, I mean, a metal part would probably be better, but at the same time, I'm not too worried about the plastic part so far as it has held up. You can see the barrel honestly looks incredibly good for 3,000 rounds. Like usually there is the beginnings of some like wear where the slide and the barrel are going to mate up. There's almost zero. There's a slight hint of it kind of back here, but it honestly looks really good all the way through. A little bit of carbon lock trying to get the compensator off, but it wasn't too bad removing it after 3,000 rounds. There is a spot where the finish is failing on the side of the barrel right there. That's the one thing I've noticed there. A little bit of finish fail, little tiny bit of finish failure on the side of the lug on the barrel. And that's it so far. Inside the slide, there is some wear on the front of the inside of the slide where it's going out there. And actually it's kind of revealed some fine machine marks that you can see. There's just a little bit of lines. I don't know how well that's coming across with what you can see. One thing is the optic, like that's how dirty the optic lens got. It was getting mighty filthy, like watch. Like all that was getting put on there. Considering the barrel doesn't have the 12 o'clock slit in the barrel to put carbon up there, like that's just how much stuff is coming out of the chamber on these guns. I'll finish cleaning it. I do get asked from time to time, gun oil I use, modern Spartan system, accuracy oil. You can see this bottle, I got it a few years ago. I'm running out, so I'm gonna have to get some more, but do have a code that'll help you on it. THM10 will save you 10% on modern Spartan system accuracy oil. I do feel like it stays on the gun, keeps the gun slippery longer. So anyway, check it out or don't. Just paint this oil onto the gun and the contact areas and areas that are likely to get carbon buildup. It makes cleaning the guns and subsequent cleanings a lot easier, and it works pretty well. So the cut part does go into the slide at the front. Just make sure that you're seating it, you get it nice and low on the actual, get the thing on top of the barrel and then just push it back and it goes in like that. And last step after cleaning should be to retorque this little screw like we talked about. The gun, all things considered, has held up very well with the exception of that one little bit of finish on the side of that lug. It's not in a contact area. I don't know why SIG made the lugs go all the way around the barrel rather than just on the top, but you know, here we are. But I do want to spend some time talking about the features of the gun that shooting it this much, I came to appreciate a lot about the guns relative to kind of everything else in the category. So first things first, the weight on the gun is basically perfect. Even with the diet it's been put on with the Gray Guns Magwell, it still is a kind of heavier middleweight gun at, you know, coming in at just under 45 ounces with a magazine and optic. And that's a great weight for a range gun. It makes it easy to line up tight shots. It soaks up a good bit of energy coming off the round in recoil. Obviously the compensator is doing its job as well, so it is kind of a heavier middleweight gun. as far as range guns are concerned. It'd be a super heavy carry gun. Yeah, we're not talking about carrying one of these monsters because that's just wild. And despite that super heavy weight, the gun is super balanced. Like, it is in a 5-inch format, even though it is not a 5-inch pistol because of the compensator. It doesn't, you can see when I release the gun, it balances on my finger just like you'd want it to. With a magazine with ammo in it, it has a bit of a rearward balance, which is nice because it just, I mean, it's easy to swing target to target. And at that 45-ounce mark, it is easy to shoot, but it's still, you know, in the realm of possible to, you know, do fast gun handling and swing it from target to target. The trigger on the gun is, in my opinion, very good for a single action only gun, especially considering it's Series 80. Now, it's not elite like your Atlas Gunworks type triggers, but it is very good relative to other ones. You wouldn't realize it's a Series 80 trigger unless you looked at it. Like, the feel on the trigger is excellent. The weight is appropriate for a gun in this category. Between the trigger and the weight, I've just felt like I could rip the gun. When I was shooting indoors, I was shooting at 20 yards and I was having the gun come back to the 0 zone, and you know, good things were happening. Same thing at the outdoor range. I lined up at 25 yards and I was just having an easy time with the steel. Like, I was enjoying the gun. Now, another feature in this is going to be something for the smaller handed crew, is that the gun is kind of long front to back, but it's not fat. But it gives big handed shooters like me a great pocket to put their support hand on the gun. And there is the capability with these removable grip panels, if LOK Grip introduces some like ledge type grips where you can really get behind the gun, that is really appealing to me. Also, the potential is there for there to be like brass grips or something crazy to make the gun even heavier if you want that. But that kind of Goldilocks grip shape allows me to get onto the mag release much easier than I can on other 2011 style pistols. I really do appreciate the shape of the grip. I'd say I like the shape of the grip more than a traditional 2011 grip. And I've got a bunch of different 2011 grips that I've tried, and I still think that the shape of this grip is a better shape for what I would consider most people. Now, another sleeper feature is the magwell itself, and because it presents as kind of like a tactical magwell, it has an absolutely cavernous opening, especially in the front to back dimension, which is really where most of the misses on reloads hit. When I was dry firing this gun, I felt like I couldn't miss. It feels like an open gun magwell despite being a tactical sized magwell. So I wouldn't even consider needing the bigger flower pot magwell. It'd just be absolutely ludicrous on this thing. The magwell is really well designed. Now, obviously a concern with any new pistol release is that the ecosystem isn't going to be there for it. And the ecosystem is already sort of there because it uses an existing pattern of magazines. So you've got magazine support already, including, you know, the base pads and all the other stuff you need for magazines. The holsters, it got away with using P320 holsters pretty well, but folks like Carey Concealment came out with their own holster specifically for the gun. This is a competition holster. This is their X1. It's got a magnet in the bottom of the holster that grabs the barrel, and the magnet's what holds the gun in the holster. It's not like super stiff retention. It's easily defeated with a sharp tug. So it's, you know, a cool holster option. So we're starting to see that kind of stuff. Obviously, Gray Guns is doing their thing on the magwell, and if Gray Guns does anything, you'll know that they'll probably do more for the platform. So those are probably coming. Magpul is making aftermarket magazines that sell at a discount to what SIG Sauer sells their branded magazines for. These are selling for about 30 bucks, which sounds like a lot of money, is a lot of money, more than a Glock magazine, but is less than the 40 to 50 bucks that SIG is asking for theirs that come in 17 and 21 round formats. So the Magpul mags are pretty awesome. And IDPA guys, this magazine would be my recommendation because the OEM base pad works with the GOAT magwell. So there it is, no problems there. It works very well. Now let's talk about the concerns before we get into the negatives. So it's a SIG Sauer product, and what that means is that on the heels of this release are going to be more releases. As if to prove a point, SIG Sauer already released, not at launch, but shortly thereafter, they released an FDE version of this gun. So what that means is we probably get to look forward to every color of the rainbow and different variants of the platform coming out. And I'm sure they're all gonna have really awesome names because that's what SIG likes to do. They give guns names like Macro, Rose, Equinox. Those are all really simple and elegant names. Elegant. Let's be real here, SIG Sauer. There's no reason you couldn't do something awesome and give the future variants of the gun awesome names. Because, you know, you could just call it Attack Armadillo, Lead Ray Blaster, or simply The Business. Those are all great names. Because let's be real, the guys buying this gun are probably middle-aged men who either have kids or were once kids who enjoyed going to monster truck rallies and got yelled at by their parents for bashing their siblings with the wrapping paper things at Christmas time. Yeah, you remember that. That was awesome. But I'm sure they're not going to do that, and they'll probably just call it like Compass or something. They've already made the engineers at SIG Sauer happy by giving it letters and numbers because it's the P211. So those guys are happy. But then the marketing people are going to throw, you know, something on there. So the negatives, and they really haven't changed much from the original video on this, but you kind of got more context and clarity for how this set screw that retains the compensator, and it's installed from the factory, YouTube, chill out. You can see how that moves. So I would say that, you know, witness marking the screw on the compensator is absolutely mandatory. Now, it didn't come close to coming off. I think it's about nearly 3 rotations, full rotations of the screw to cinch it up to 15 inch-pounds. And they recommend tightening it every 1,000 rounds. So it seems sage advice, but that is something you would have to manage with this format of the pistol having the compensator on there. And that's the single biggest problem with the gun. The other one is with the magwell design. Like, this was conceived with like USPSA length, like 21 round magazines in mind because they stick proud, they can go in, it's no problem. But with 17 rounders, which is what IDPA guys are gonna want, they're gonna have to go below flush. Like, you can see that the base pad on this magazine sits below the edge of the magwell, which on a slide forward reload, it's going to create the potential for the magazine not to lock in. So just be sure, you know, you're slamming the mag home with enough force to make sure you're getting that positive lock on the magazine. You could probably get some foam stuff or something super lightweight and extend that base pad so it goes in a little bit easier and still doesn't, you know, bust the weight limit for IDPA. And this one's a weird one, and that's if you move the slide slowly, you can get it to kind of hang out of battery. It's not doing it now because I cleaned the gun and it's nice, but it was doing it earlier. But if you move the slide slowly and the gun is a little bit dry, it'll hang up just out of battery. That's not a problem when you're shooting the gun. It didn't create any issues in 3,000 rounds. But, you know, a couple times off of seating a fresh mag and releasing the slide release when the gun was dirty, it wouldn't quite go all the way into battery, but I'm using the lightweight recoil spring. So if you use the heavyweight recoil spring, that problem probably goes away. But at the same time, you're kind of giving up on the super nice shooting experience by not using the light recoil spring, which is nice. And other than the cost, which is, you know, a king's ransom for one of these things, that's really kind of it. But I would say that the gun is super pleasant to shoot. I actually really like shooting this gun. It's just as pleasant as shooting a good 2011, and in many ways it punches way over its weight. Despite that handsome price tag, it's messing with stuff like the Staccato XC or the Masterpiece Arm DS9 TC. This does all of the same performance as those guns for a significantly less price tag, and it has a Series 80 drop safety on it. So in theory, if you want to drop a very expensive pistol, it's not going to, you know, go off when it has muzzle down drops. And the ecosystem is only going to continue to develop. As I mentioned, I'll do another video with this gun once it comes out with the sight block and I can get it in USPSA limited optics trim. Shoot a match with that, get some USPSA guys who shoot 2011s to kind of check it out, see what they think about shooting it. So be sure you're subscribed to the channel to check those out when they drop. But I do think that this gun is a significant challenger in the 2011 space. I'm not saying it's going to out 2011 a 2011, but I would say that the shooting experience is, especially given the ergonomics, is something that is worthy of consideration. Put one in your hand, see what you think. I know comments about, you know, P320 and stuff are going to be down below, but at the same time, this gun is ridiculous to shoot. And if you're a goat shooter and you've got many thousands of rounds on this, and when I say this, let's say like 5 to 10,000, sound off in the comments. Let everybody know what your experience has been with the gun. Did your reverse plug break, or is it still going strong? Just let us know in the comments below. If you want to watch more high round count review stuff, I did an update on the Kimber 2K11 at 6,000 rounds. And of course, I'd like to thank Gray Guns for sending the magwell in for me to check out, as well as Carey Concealment on the holster. As always, appreciate you guys. Catch you on the next one.